what's going on inside will directly be revealed on the outside.
You are listening to Amplify Your Success Podcast, episode 369. And today, I have a very powerful guest who's going to share the 4-step tune-in process that will manifest ultimate success. You ready for this? Let's get started. Welcome to the Amplify Your Success Podcast. Get ready to ramp up your revenue, amplify your impact, and make your mark in the world. This is the show for experts, thought leaders, and service professionals who want to shatter their limits and achieve that next level. You're going to find out from other experts and influencers how they made it. Now, let's get amplified. Hey there, inspired entrepreneurs and business leaders. It is your host, Melanie Benson, authority amplifier and possibility igniter to expert-based entrepreneurs who are ready to take their business into steady 5- and 6-figure months. Now, this episode is very powerful. I actually got so much out of this episode, and I cannot wait to share it with you today because it's a great setup for the event I'm hosting later this month called the Bold Growth Event. And I think one of the things that happens for people is they get these big ideas, they have these big visions, they set goals, and then things fall apart because they're not being the person who can pull them off yet. And we think we have to work harder, we have to work more, we have to put in more hours, and this whole hustle culture thing, but really it has nothing to do with the hustle. The action is important, but what makes the biggest difference is the way you use your energy, the way you use your thinking, your decision-making, your focus. All of this is critical. And then my guest today is going to add one of the components that is just so powerful. I've been using it every day since she shared it with us, so I can't wait to share it with you. Now, I would love for you to attend the Bold Growth Event, and you have a couple more days if you're listening to this in real time to join us live. If you head to boldgrowthevent.com, you'll get the details. You'll see how to secure your spot. This event, I am so excited for it. This event is a game changer. Because not only are we elevating your energy and your capability and your clarity, but I'm going to supercharge you so that those next level growth goals that you keep setting aren't just a goal and a nice idea. They become your reality this year. So head to boldgrowthevent.com and secure your spot right away. And then let's shatter the limits that you keep putting on yourself and ignite that possibility. All right, now let's get into today's episode. Welcome back, Amplifiers. You are in for such a treat today. We have an amazing guest. So we're going to be talking about how to tune in so that you're creating something even more extraordinary this year. And when to know it's time to relaunch. And let me introduce you to the most amazing woman. Her name is Hilary DeCesare, and she's an award-winning peak performance, business, and mindset mastery coach. She's the 3-time international best-selling author of Relaunch, Spark Your Heart to Ignite Your Life, and founder of the Relaunch Company. She is a former Silicon Valley CEO and widely recognized for her work in the field of neuropsychology, which I absolutely love. She's spent the last 20 years improving the lives of entrepreneurs and business owners and leaders all over the world in her coaching programs. And now she is bringing us an extraordinary tool that everybody's going to want to use. So her work has been featured on all kinds of things like ABC's Secret Millionaire, NBC, Forbes Coaches Council, Fox, Entrepreneur Magazine. I could go on, but I want you to read her bio that we post here in the show notes. Right now, you want to get to know this woman. Hilary, I am so glad you're here.
Melanie, it's our time. This is it.
It is our time.
Let's just light everybody up out there.
Yeah, well, I got so many things I have to say at the beginning here. First of all, I was recently a guest on Hilary's amazing podcast, the Relaunch Podcast. If you are not listening to it, you want to go listen to it right now. I will link it up in the show notes because that episode was so hot. You're
It
such a
was
fabulous
fire.
host. It was
Well,
fire.
you are such a
Bring
great guest. So it was one of those,
it.
what can we do next? We got to keep this party going. Like, how can we do
Yeah.
come on mine? I'm like, okay, I'll come on yours. How
Yes.
fast?
I love it. It's always so much fun when you have really great synergy with somebody. You're like, let's not make it stop, which by the way is part of the magic of being a podcast guest, right? It's like you kind of create the spark of what else can we do? What else is there, right? So magical.
Collaboration. So good.
Yeah. And you are just back from one of my most extraordinarily magical favorite places on the planet, Italy.
It
Yeah.
was beyond. We were in Sicily. We were in Tormino and Palermo, and then we headed to Florence and Rome. And I mean, what is there not like about being there, being in that world of the most incredible food, the most
Yeah.
incredible wine? I mean, the
Culture.
people, the culture. I do have to tell you one crazy thing. And it just came into my mind. I've only been back a couple days, so hopefully I don't squirrel too much here. But we went to a 2,000-year-old bathhouse. It's one of the most famous in Sicily, and it has the largest amount of mosaics that are found on Sicily. And I believe actually, it could even be in Europe. It was incredible. But one of the rooms, and it took a while to get there because it's on the drive from Palermo to Tormino and Termina. And when we were halfway through, I thought, God, I know there was something really I needed to see here. Like I just had this like download, like you have to go. There is no other opportunity. You have to make this happen. And so I get into this room and I look down, and there are probably 6 or 7 women on the floor in a mosaic. And here's the craziest thing. They are literally in bandeau bikini tops with like ripped bodies. And even one of them is holding dumbbells. You heard that right, dumbbells. So they are actively working out in like these little outfits 2,000 years ago. I mean, that was just mind blowing to me. They were throwing like these big metal things. I mean, it was crazy to see that, where I think about in the US, you look at the bathing suits from like, 50, 60 years ago, and that women are wearing long dresses at the beach. And these women are, basically wearing fashion of today. Crazy. And doing I looked at my husband and I said, all right, it's time. I need to start, using some dumbbells. It's crazy.
Inspiration comes from all
It was a
sources
lot
at
of
any time if you're paying attention.
It was a lot of inspiration.
Oh, well, I'm excited for our conversation today. We could probably have a whole episode just on really cool things to do in Italy, but that's a whole nother show.
We really should too.
Yeah, I know. Sometimes I get these ideas and I'm like, yeah, I don't know if that's my idea, but you never know. You never know. I love what you're doing with this relaunch, the work that you're doing to really like help people move into the work they're meant to do. And this episode is airing as we're entering a new year, a new season. I feel in a lot of ways, we've moved out of this very uncertain time of the pandemic. We've just gone through a whole technology wave with AI and all the things that moved around in the world. We've had so many painful things going on in the world. And as we're coming into this new year, I feel like people may be entering this year with this desire to bring something fresh, something new, something more aligned. What are your thoughts? What do you think's happening as we're moving into this new year?
So when you think about relaunch, and right now there's never in our history of, the time that we have been alive, such massive relaunches happening globally. I mean, my gosh, you look at all the things that are going on in the world. You look at your personal lives coming out of, as you said, pandemic, and you look at your business. I have never, and I've been doing this for 23 years, and I have never had more people come to me saying, you know what, Hilary, something is not settled within me. I don't feel like I'm truly doing what I'm supposed to be doing. I don't know if I want to, throw the bathwater out with everything, or if I just want to modify and change and relaunch a portion of my business. But something's got to change. And then there's the question of, oh my gosh, I still need a profitable company. I still need a company that's scaling and growing and I'm impacting. But how do I really do it? And here's the thing, when there is so much uncertainty, you start to doubt every decision. You're like, should I do it? Should I not? This is happening. Well, my family's doing this. The kids are trying to do this. My parents are getting older. There's so much going on as we're in the mid zone, right? That mid zone of life. And the most important thing to think about is when you are trying to assess something, we want to make sure that we are at the highest level within ourselves to assess it, right? You assess something when you're at a low vibrational level. You were like, you love the idea of neuroscience. What are you going to get? Low level kind of, the answers. And we don't want that. And so if you think back to the 50s, 60s, 70s, even going into the 80s, IQ, how intelligent are you, was the metric for success. Then we get into the 90s and it became EQ. How emotionally connected do you read people? Are you aware of what the other is thinking? That becomes the major type of leader. But today, it's not about a new normal. It's about a new different. And where I have based my success with people is around a fundamental framework called 3HQ. And the H's are, and headquarters of you, right? That's what it's all about. You've got your head, your heart, and your highest self. No longer is it about being in a silo, one area. I'm just going to learn everything I can and I'm going to be successful. Or I'm just going to be emotionally connected. And I'm going to be successful. It doesn't work that way anymore. We have to be within ourselves to create with around us the possibilities of the success. So again, what's going on inside will directly be revealed on the outside. So right now, when I initially, just start, okay, hey, great. You want to relaunch you, new year, new you. Let's really get first question out there. And these are this is something that you have to be thinking about all the time. And it's that clarity. And people kind of disregard this. They say, yeah, no, I get it. You got to be clear. You got to be clear on what you want. But you know what? We stop at, oh, I want a 7-figure business. I want an 8-figure business. Okay. That's not good enough, right? That's very much head-based. Your thoughts around, oh, I want it. Okay. Yes, I want to impact. And even in today's world, I want to impact, 1 million people, 10 million, 100 million, whatever it's going to be. But then you have to stop and remember, we all know about the why. We all know about the connection of the feeling that needs to supercharge the thought around clarity. But here's what's missing. What's missing is the highest self, the best version of you, where you're happy. You're feeling like you're being charged up. And so as you're approaching where you really want to take your business this year, what do you really want? We can't stand still. We can't keep doing the same thing. We have to be changing. We have to be shifting. We have to be growing in to our best version of ourselves, because that's how you're going to grow your company. So people facing this, what is this year really going to mean for me? You got to be looking at it's about taking what you are clearly meant to be doing, clearly, and then figuring out around it, wrapping it with the right relaunch for revenue growth.
I have so many things I want to ask you about this, because this has just sparked so many memories of conversations where people were talking themselves out of what was possible in order to keep what was comfortable. And I'm curious, as you look at our community and you look at the people that you're serving right now, where do people tend to maybe dig themselves into a hole and like get stuck, when really what they need to do is consider how they might relaunch themselves into that 3HQ experience that you just mapped out, which by the way, I love, love it, love it, love it.
Well, so first off, I want to let you know that whether I am working with a celebrity, whether I am working with a business leader, a iron man, I've somehow become like a big iron person, an iron coach, I guess you'd say. Whatever it is, there is a point of where you really are thinking about where you are today, where you thought you would be today, and how do you excel to a point where there's an end game, right? We no longer in that position of just keeping it, ride it till it's gone. When you're in the mid zone, and I really classify it, and actually I'll say this, Brene Brown classified it the best. She said, midlife is 35 until you're dead. Okay. So if you're in that mid zone, and I think of it a little bit later, because I've got people that are like, they're sitting there saying, wait a second, 35, that's kind of young. But where you want to be is, what's the end game? What's the end position? Where do you really want to be? And, we always do this in business. We start talking about, what's the, keep the end in mind. Well, what is that? And as I said about clarity, too many people are starting business, starting entrepreneur, coming from corporate, which I did. I was in Silicon Valley for almost 10 years at a high-tech company. And then going into entrepreneurship with this vision of I'm just going to do it. It's just my thing. But not necessarily really thinking about what's the end game. Are you looking at selling your business? Are you looking at, hey, at the end, just saying I want to turn it off. I want to go over to Italy and I want to live. Or are you looking at selling it to the point of, maybe you're leaving it to a family member, the legacy piece. And so at this point, when you look at 3HQ and you look at, I just want to go into that a little bit more, because the head and the heart, people grasp a little bit more, although there's so much there when you talk about really peak performance mindset and the head and your thoughts and your empowering beliefs versus disempowering beliefs. There's something that I do want to refer to as bugs, your beliefs underground surfacing. And today, in today's world, we all have bugs. We all have them. There are usually 3, and I call them the queen bees, the queen bugs that you have. It's the I'm not good enough. I'm not safe, right? Financially safe, big one. And the last one is I'm not lovable. I'm not loved, right? And it could even be, you put something out and you get just blazed up by somebody on social media, right? Because the more you're going to grow, you're going to get that. I mean, it's inevitable, right? But what I want people to realize is the bugs that we all have, if we at this point, with all the wisdom that we have as being, in the mid zone, if we don't actively go after reaching that highest level of us and we allow our bugs to take over, then as you want to shift, want to relaunch part of your business or your entire business, which by the way, I've had people come to me lately and they're like, I'm ready. I'm ready to do something totally different. Or there's people getting fired, right, from high C-suite jobs that are getting laid off, and they're trying to figure out what's next in a time where, the belief is there aren't a lot of jobs out there. You have to be focused on that highest level. So what do I really mean by that? And what do I mean by focusing on it? So we understand that your bugs are keeping you at a low vibrational energy, right? Because they're negative, limiting beliefs. Negative. If they were positive, we'd be at a higher level. So we know that in order to get to our highest self, we've got to bounce ourselves up. We got to do the bounce. And the way to do that is elevating your energy. How do you elevate your energy? I call it the tune in process. Tune in is literally a quick fix for 3HQ. It helps you understand what 3HQ really is in like a nutshell. Can I take you through it?
I was just going to ask you. So this is perfect timing. Yes, I want to understand this.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm basically going to take you through as if I'm coaching you. Okay. So when you think about the biggest challenge that you have in your business right now, what would that be for you?
I think for me, it's sometimes attracting the right person for the right roles.
Okay.
Finding that right person for the right role.
Okay. Attracting the right people for the right team role.
Team roles, yeah.
Okay. Okay. So clarity. Remember I talked about that? Step 1, and it's a 4-step process, super easy. And by the way, we're going to talk a little bit longer, but this is a process you can do in 60 to 120 seconds. And you're going to learn to do it multiple times a day. So just keep that in mind. And why are we doing this multiple times a day? It's because Einstein said, and we've all heard, you can't solve a problem at the conscious level it was created. And I remember vividly when I first heard that, and I'm like, what the hell does that mean? Like, really, what does that mean? And then when I'm like, I got it, the tune-in process actually allows you to level yourself up so that you're not at that low vibrational level. So you now are getting clear that, hey, I want to attract the right team members. I don't want to bring in, because it is a lot of effort to train someone and have them leave, right? To find out that they're not the right. So step 1 is really getting clear, and it's understanding what your challenge is and your intention. It can also be an intention. A lot of times people think, is a challenge bad? Does it have to be bad? No. My challenge before I came on your show was, all right, if I impact one person, if I get one person out of everyone to resonate with the tune in, then I've done my job. That's what I want. I want to impact. So my challenge was that. It's not a challenge, except it's a positive one. Okay. Step 2 is one of my favorite parts. And step 1 is all in the head, right? You got a challenge, it's head, very heady. Step 2 is about elevating yourself with your energy to your highest self. And the way you're going to do that is you're going to tune into your song, a song that lights you up. When you hear it, Melanie, you are like, yes, I cannot be low vibration. And so what is a song? And I already see you thinking, you're looking up your visual
what
person.
What is that song?
Yeah, what is that song?
I have quite a few of them. The one that dropped into my head was the one about, it's like, let's get this party started.
Okay, let's get this party started.
I can't remember the name of it, yeah.
Yeah, okay, so let's get this party started. We're just going to go with that. And I can hear it. You can hear it. And what I want you to do is literally, from a neuroscience perspective, you have to bring it into your body for at least 20 seconds to change your state. All right, scientific. Now, take it from your head. Have that song, Pink, let's get this party started, going through. It's going from your head to your toes. Move your body, because we're changing the state. You're hearing it. If we weren't on your show right now and we would get shut down because we're playing the song for too long, we would otherwise play it on your phone. But a lot of times you're doing just like this. You don't have time to get, but you can hear the song. So I want you to really move your body again, 20 seconds. You're kind of taking it in. Let's get this party started. And now what I want you to do is go into step 3. In step 3, we're tuning in again. Keep tuning into your song. I'm a big music person. I mean, this is like my jam right now is music. And so what I want you to do is now you're going to create a mini movie in your mind of what it would look like the number one, where you said I have this challenge, bringing in the right team, having the right people come in. If you had everybody that is just like, not just an A team, you got the A plus team, everybody's working together, you're visualizing it. And here's the best part. You're the star of this movie. You're going to infuse it with emotion. You're going to infuse it with even a color. Because again, neuroscience, we're going to light you up with something you're wearing. And you're going to have a color. What is that color that really is symbolic of how you feel when you're visualizing having this insanely great team?
Well, it's my brand color, that burgundy plum color.
Ooh,
but it's
love.
shiny. It's not flat. It's like a shiny. It's got
Ooh.
like a little bit of a energy to it.
Okay. So that shiny burgundy color, you're going to intensify it. That emotion that you feel, you're going to intensify that. You're going to tune back into, let's get this party started. So now you're like overloaded here. You're just like totally. And as every good movie has, there is some type of billboard. Let's say you're in Times Square. We're going to trigger you right now by having your eyes open and closed 3 times. You're taking an internal picture. And when I say click, that's the trigger to open and close your eyes, taking that internal picture of you having this, the burgundy, shiny color. You are all about it. Already? You're going to open and close your eyes. Click, click, click. Do you have this picture, Melanie?
Oh, yeah. I
Okay.
got it.
Okay. So that is your picture you're going to keep coming back to. That has like, it's almost like a mini movie right there in that picture. And so again, right there, that's hard. That's hard. Now we go into step 4. And that is back to the head. What is a micro action? The smallest thing that you can do right now, because success loves speed. Right now, whether we're getting off like this show, what could you do to get one step closer to that visual, to that picture you took? I want you to tune back into, let's get this party started, move your body, and think, what could I do to call in, to make sure that I am bringing in the most insane, awesome team? What would that be? What would that micro action be?
Yeah, I'm going to reach out to some of my colleagues who are major players in the industry. I almost said a word that would have changed our rating here today. But yes, major players in the industry, and ask for a couple referrals.
Okay, so first name of one of those people. First name.
Joanna.
Okay, so here's why I'm doing this. This is where the accountability comes in. As soon as you are done, are you going to text her, email her, call her? What will you do? DM
Message her. Message her.
You're going to message her. When you're done with that, you're going to text me. You're going to DM me and say done. And here's that's the 4-step tune in. I do it 20 times a day. It is an automatic peak performance habit for me. And I do it before every single new meeting that I have. Every time I'm going to be on any stage, whatever it is, anytime I'm going to be working with a client, anytime I'm doing anything, I literally go through this 4-step process, and it has become part of my DNA. I now can go from, it doesn't matter what kind of call I've just had, what kind of anything, what is going on in my personal life. And I've had so many relaunches you can't even imagine. Why did I call it the Relaunch Co? I've had a board member where I've raised almost $9 million for a business that I created. He actually stole from us, did a Ponzi scheme, and ended up taking the business down, only to be then thrown into federal prison for 3 years. I mean, I've had my mom, 14 months after she was diagnosed, pass away. Dad, 2 days before my book launch, passed away. I mean, it goes on and on. I've had melanoma. I mean, you just name it, the divorce, the young little kiddos doing a whole bunch of stuff. But I have been able to continue, not over a long period. I'm not like, I'm not claiming that we all have to be the Gandhi or the Buddha or Mother Teresa staying at that highest self all the time. But this allows you to literally on demand create energy around what you're about to do for a very small amount of time. And that is the beginning of 3HQ. 3HQ is much bigger. And when you start to live with the framework of 3HQ, that's when the groundswell, that's when everything in your life changes. But tuning in, I'm telling you, tomorrow, tune in 1, 2, 3 times tomorrow and see what happens.
I love it. Well, first of all, thank you. That was very powerful. And second, as you were listening in as a listener today, I want you to do this with us. Like, do your version of this. Like, you're getting some of the most powerful transformational coaching in this moment. Like, I'm trained in NLP, so I recognize a lot of that neuro reprogramming, and we're literally teaching, or I should say, Hilary is literally
together.
Shifting.
We are, no doubt.
We are co-creating it. You're right.
Yeah,
we are co-creating a new path for your neurons to fire, so that instead of going into the habits, instead of going to the place where things aren't working, instead of going into the frustration and all those places where our old energetic patterns take us away from what we want, she just gave you a key to be limitless and to access possibilities that have may in the past felt blocked for you. This is the key to true success. Very powerful.
No more rolling into your next meeting. Just rolling from one, not really thinking, just going in. Setting yourself up for success is not about in the morning saying, these are the 3 things that I want to get done, and then trying to get those done. And it's about setting yourself up for success every time you're about to do something. You're about to go live. You're about to create a post. You're about to talk to someone about an investment opportunity. You're about to partner. You're about to become an affiliate. You do not want to enter into any of those conversations at a lower vibrational level. You want to set yourself up for success, or don't do it.
Yes, I could not agree more. And also being aware of your own energetic frequencies. I think sometimes we get in these autopilots and we don't really check in with ourselves, right? We don't really have self-awareness. Oh, I'm actually not in a very good state right now. And yes, I can actually take ownership of my state and shift it to where it could be. And I don't need anybody else to do a thing to help. You can do it inside of yourself. Now, of course, that you do need coaching, and sometimes the transformation is facilitated a little faster.
Accountability is always good, right?
Yes.
Accountability.
Yeah,
But,
so I do think coaching plays a very vital role in all of that, with tools and resources and accountability, as you're saying. But I just want people to aware we can claim our own destiny by changing the dynamics inside of us.
And something even more fascinating, as you continue to use Tune In, there was a study done with monkeys, and one monkey was cracking open peanuts, and they had scans on the heads of both monkeys, and the other monkey looking at the one monkey cracking open the peanut and then eating the peanut. Just by being at that level, the mirror neurons that are also within us actually cause that second monkey to have the same type of reaction as in the brain as if he were eating or she were eating the peanut. And so when you do this, this is the best part of it. You don't even realize what's going on behind the scenes with you're bringing yourself to this level, but you're also elevating others to that level as well. So the outcomes And I mean, I am like, you know me, I'm like, I love data. I love all of the nuances of like tracking any type of information and surveys. And so tracking how the tune in process is working. And I mean, daily I'm getting the most incredible types of, DMs or text or just notifications that, oh my God, like I never, and you said magic at the beginning. I can't believe it. It's like it's magic. And the best part, it's not. It's exactly what your subconscious brain, it's exactly what your reticular activation system is set up to do. And all I'm doing is allowing you very simply. I'm all about simple. I've made too many things in the past way too complex that I couldn't even remember any of the things. Like I got confused by my own systems that now, as I've gotten older, I've realized, can we just make everything as simple as possible and let's just get the best results, period. That's it. That's what we're going for.
Beautiful. I love simple. I'm very much about simplify to amplify. So
Yes, you are.
Simple is
And you've
powerful.
done, and Melanie, you've done an amazing job with that too.
Oh, thank you. Well, I didn't used to do it that way, like you. I made things very complicated for a long time, and I think there's wisdom in like the years as you realize that's just not working. That's not sustainable. So we
Why
learn
do
and
I
we
have to,
grow,
why do I have to do it that way? Why am I
right?
making, if I can do it in 2 steps or 3 steps instead of the 10 to 12, why am I not doing that?
Yes, why not? This is so extraordinary. I love this technique, and it is I can feel it in my body already, and I actually can't wait to listen back to this. And as you're listening in, you may actually choose right now to listen to this several times and try it with different outcomes that you're looking for. So thank you for sharing that. Now, I would love it if you could share a resource or a way in which our listener today could take a next step with you or get to know your work better.
Wonderful. And I think that one last piece that I just want to mention, as you just said that, some people say, they ask the question, Hilary, should you use the same song for everything? What I have really done is I've categorized it into like 5 of my favorite songs, 5 songs that I just know like immediately elevate me. And then you can say, all right, well, this one is really when I need to be creative. This one is when I'm negotiating or building up or creating revenue for the company. And this song, so that it starts to happen faster and faster. Because again, what we're doing is rewiring the brain. Where you can learn more about this, and I have a free resource for you, is at tuneinpowertool.com. Tuneinpowertool.com. And I'm going to ask you to do the same thing that I asked Melanie. When you have gone through this and you have identified that action step, DM Melanie, DM Hilary at the Relaunch Co. and let us know, because what we want is, and just keep going with it. When you're doing this, you're reinforcing. It's that dopamine. It's the ability that I can then, reach back out and say, hey, great job. I'll give you another strategy. Melanie can sit there and say, yes, now how are you going to do this in terms of this next piece you're working on? So that's the key piece. So tuneinpowertool.com. There's a PDF, there's a video there. We really give it to you in more detail, more neuroscience behind it. And again, let us know that boom, you've done this. You've tuned in and you're starting to take this peak performance habit into your life.
Love, love, love it. And yes, I cannot wait to get your DMs and let me know that you have made this happen. And if you are not a DMer, you can also just do a little comment wherever you're listening to this on whatever social media or wherever you like to listen in. Just give us a little shout out and say, yes, this is what I'm tuning into. Hilary, I like to ask my guests a couple fun questions before we end, because we've learned a very powerful process from you today, but I also know you've been on a journey to get here, right? Like you've had your own experiences, you had learnings and growth and evolution. And I'm always super curious what you believe to be the boldest thing you ever did in your career as an entrepreneur, to amplify the success of your business?
I would say it was right after my mom died. I decided to relaunch the direction of what I was going to be doing with relaunch. And I went away from trying to just create business, and I leaned into what I'm really passionate about, which is ancient wisdom, universal laws. It's what we learn from the past in terms of mindset, Florence Scovel Shinn, and what she taught us over 100 years ago. And I really I wanted to go where I wanted to go at that point. And I didn't know what people were going to think of it. I didn't want and all of a sudden I thought, you know what? At this point, I know where I need to go. And I started to be like, who knew woo could be so good for you? And so for me, as a corporate woman growing up in this very male dominated world that you never even wanted to say anything about your intuition or, hey, I just feel that this deal is going to be like a great one. I have to say that was really a bold decision, and one that I am really proud of, because I get to bring out things that 15 years ago would have been considered like, you should go into the loony house. Now it's getting a little bit more acceptable, and I'm putting that together with business principles.
I really resonate with that, by the way. Coming out of the corporate world myself, and also my entry into entrepreneurship was very much a part of a male dominated marketing world at that time. So yes, I deeply resonate with that. Okay, now looking back from today to the beginning of your launch into the entrepreneurial world, what's one thing you wish you would have done sooner because now you know how impactful it was going to be to your business?
So the first thing that came to my mind is I would have found, I am at that point when I was starting out, I was a course junkie. I mean, if a course was brought to my attention, I'd be like, yes, I need that. Yes. I mean, I remember one day looking in my bookmarks, and I couldn't believe how many courses were there. And I didn't even know what some of the courses were anymore. And I remember thinking, I've spent a lot of money on a lot of bad information. I wish I had gone and just found the real, and spent the money on the real leaders in the industry, instead of just like the flash in the pan, the shiny penny, oh, that sounds good, I got to do this. And their business principles, core business principles, never go out of style, but there is a paradigm shift that is happening. And so today I look back and I'm like, oh God, I still get messages, I'm sure you do too. And I've had to unsubscribe to some because I'm like, oh my God, that is just a bad reminder. The bad reminder that I signed up for that thing.
You brought up something so important here. And I really think, I love that you brought this into the paradigm shift that's occurring. And I believe this is part of what's happening in our industry overall as coaches and course creators and all of that. I think there's a paradigm shift away from the brightest, shiniest, fix it now course or program to recognizing how important it is to experience real transformation, and to notice that isn't necessarily going to happen by learning something, but that we actually need a coach, a trained professional that can actually help us integrate and accomplish. And that's the way I would frame it, at least. And I think that's part of why so many people's programs kind of stopped working and they're having to relaunch and reinvent into something that's more aligned and relevant with what their community wants from them now.
100%. And that was so well said, first off. And when you think about how many people are entering into the online digital space, I think that there's even more bad misrepresentation of information, this idea of the, get rich fast and just take this course, do what I'm telling you. And I'm just going to say, blow up your box. Get out of the box. Don't try to think that there is a business in a box formula for you, because there's not. Every business, you are unique. Your business is unique. And the second you try to just like, that, I'm going to do just that, follow those steps, it has to be incorporated. And you do this so well. It has to be designed for you. It has to be specific to you. You are not a business in a box. You're not. So blow up the box, get out of the box, run.
Get rid of the cookie cutters.
Yes. Yeah.
No cookie cutter zone.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well said. Yeah. Oh, Hilary, you're so extraordinary. I'm so excited that not only have you brought such great wisdom today, but you walked us through this powerful 4-step tune-in process, like transformational right here in this moment. So perfect. Thank you.
Melanie, thank you for letting me share this and have, again, kicking off wherever you are in the year, whether it's in the quarter, you can be doing tune in every single day, all the time, multiple times. Create that habit. It literally is the best peak performance habit you can be doing for your business.
I agree. Thanks for tuning in today, Amplifier. Be sure to join us right now in the Amplify Your Authority community at authorityamplifiers.com, and I'll share my 7 proven tips to be a highly paid expert that stands out in a crowded market. Plus, we're going to keep this conversation going, and I want to hear from you how you're going to amplify your authority and make a greater impact. Before you go, please take a minute to give our show and our guests some love over on your favorite podcasting platform. Subscribe, rate, and review. Leave your full name, and I'll spotlight you and your authority on social media.